You're listening to the Light Over Time podcast with David Sargent and Korey Bartos. It is May 17th, 2026, and boy, has it been a week or two, or three, or something. It's been a wild time. We have a decent damn show for you today. Tons of photography, tons of news that we'll kind of breeze through pretty fast. But yeah, I guess let's kick it off with the old school and hit me with what you're drinking.
Oh yeah, very plain, very perfect latte, iced latte. I made my own blend with a Ethiopia and a Guatemala that we had previously, but both of those are off the shelf, so this is quite premium now.
Nice, we love that. Evan and Hope just got back from London with Evan's parents, and I am drinking a V60 of something called a special guest. It was a really high end, very expensive, apparently. Like, they were distraught when they found out how much a 200-gram bag of beans was. But they did get me a bag of beans, which is pretty cool, as like our shower gift, because they were in London during our wedding shower. So
nice.
That's pretty nice. Actually, this is my first sip.
Live review.
Pretty good. It's a Colombian. I can't remember the notes, but they sounded delicious when I read them. And yeah, that's my first V60 in a while, because I've just been like crushing espresso. So really good beans like that, kind of, you should probably do some pour over and stuff with it before you just start, blending her up. Anyway, so we kind of have a lot of stuff to go over, including a photo share, including a lens that I'm going to give to one of you, which I'm acting as though like I said that I was just going to choose. I did random number gen because I couldn't decide, but I know the lens that I'm giving away, and I know the person that is going to receive it, unless for some reason they're like, double it and give it to the next guy or whatever. But we're going to start off pretty fast. One of the coolest things that I've been doing recently, actually Friday night, I went through a huge trunk of family photos with my mother. That was a big trunk of her mother's.
Nice.
Looking at a bunch of stuff, because I've done a few kind of restorations just using like my mirrorless camera, trying to get good light, snapping a frame. And so here's a couple that I did. So I'm using the sharpening from Nik Collection 9.
Okay.
Which is incredible. I'm using like some despeckle and some dust removal from Photoshop just to kind of like do the first bit, and then I'll do like spot healing and stuff just to kind of get rid of some other really stark things, especially when you're not scanning some of these types of photos, when they have like it's almost like a speckly gloss, like matte, like semi-gloss type thing. You get all these white specks, and it can be really hard to do. So let me switch over to the photo share real quick, kind of go over what I was doing. So this is actually Elle's parents at their wedding ages ago. It actually appears that the photographer maybe had them in focus and then maybe took a step forward, because these are actually what's in focus.
That does appear to be right.
But look at just what a little minor work can pull off.
Wow.
So this is certainly not the better of the two, because they're obviously out of focus. But it cleans up pretty dang good. And then this one is actually sharp, so we can kind of go into this. But just doing a little bit of this and that.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
And with again, I probably spent maybe 4 to 5 minutes. No AI was used. I just used like a couple of tools and cleaned these up, and now they're like plenty printable. Obviously, you can see some of these speckles from the light. If I had the time when I was doing this, I would have like propped up the back and shot it at like a somewhat degree angle, so there wasn't any top-down light issue. But it is what it is.
Yep. Nice job, though.
Yeah, but pretty fun. And through that whole process, just a reminder, like if you have old photos kicking around and family photos, things like that, and it's probably the most fun I've had with my mom in a long time, was just going through like a bunch of old photos. She didn't even know it was in the trunk. It hadn't been opened since she retrieved it. And there was photos from back in 1922. There was photos. Wow. Yeah, and it was super awesome prints and some original stuff. There was like So family stuff from the 40s and 50s. There was stuff from the 60s and 70s. And then she was born in 69. So then after that, like her two siblings and like my grandma through a couple of her marriages, seeing like me when I was born with like my dad and my mom moving across the country because he was in the Coast Guard. And like there were some photos in there I had never seen of myself. And I've seen a lot of old photos of myself, but my grandma had these like little albums, and there was like a couple of 5x7s of me and my older brother on like Splash Mountain or something, and like I looked ridiculous, like missing my two front teeth and had the weirdest glasses and like a bowl cut. You know, my dad's like late 20s, just like kind of vibing, and all the fits, like seeing what they were wearing and stuff like that. The evolution of my mom's hair through the 80s and 90s. It's a lot of fun. Like, I can't be overstated how rad it is if you're lucky enough. I know not everybody has like old trunks of family photos, but I will eventually inherit all of that stuff and clean it up a little bit more than just being a trunk.
Yeah, I think like generations down are gonna not have that, you know. We as millennials and even Gen Xers have these hard drives that are kind of like scattered maybe, and I think we're not going to be as good. Some of us, I think us as photographers will be good, but a lot of parents in the day now are not going to be as good about keeping track of what hard drives are where and dumping old computers that have very, very valuable memories on them. So
yeah,
I don't think generations below us are going to get that experience like you've got here.
Right. And what's interesting too, I think like not only just like kind of having some of the stuff to remember or like having just like some things, so I had pushed back the show a couple of times. I've been really stressed out. Things have been like really just booming in my life and stuff like that. And sitting down for a few hours and doing that like almost cured me.
Yeah.
Like it was just something about looking at a bunch of old stuff and then like, you know, obviously there's a growing theme while you're looking at all these old photos of like time and like, you know, it's a really wild way to reflect a bunch of different feelings and emotions and good, bad, different, like indifferent rather. And yeah, it was pretty fun. I definitely want to continue to. I actually have a bunch. I didn't get them onto my computer yet because I've been busy this weekend. But I took a bunch of my favorites of like my great grandpa and my great grandma, and some of them were like they must have been on medium or larger format cameras where they're like holding a child in like Florida somewhere, and because he was stationed in the Air Force, and it's like the like fall off is beautiful. I was like, man, I wish I knew what this camera was because like so much is like it's like the highest resolution photo, right? You know, so if you can find some of this stuff where especially that like sweet spot of like late 40s to 50s, you know, I think a lot of 80s and 90s stuff, maybe even some 70s stuff is like lower end because everybody started getting like film cameras and it was easier to have like family level. But back then they needed a photographer to come over and like take a photo of you. So there are these like breathtaking images where you're like, these look better than any photo I've taken of me and my friends in the last 10 years. Like, what the hell?
Definitely.
Super rad. Like the larger the format, the better. And it can be pretty wild to see some of that stuff.
It reminds me of the shot that I posted in Discord probably like 2 months ago, the black and white that I found of my wife's great grandfather or somebody along that line, and it was just like in gorgeous light, and it wasn't exactly like you're saying, like it could have been just a 35 millimeter shot, but I think at the time it just wasn't as accessible. So those who did have the tools used them well.
Right. Yeah. Whereas like a bunch of the stuff like in the late 80s, early 90s of my family is like bad disposables or like they had like one janky film camera that they just beat to hell and took like tons of photos with, because my family took just ridiculous amounts of photos, which I'm you know very happy with. I'm glad that exists. I got to see if my dad's side of the family, my uncle lives in Ohio, I got to go see if they have anything from their side, because I'm not using anything spectacular to do it. I'm just making sure that there's a lot of natural light, so there's not like weird color, and then I'm just photographing it with the highest megapixel camera I have, making sure I'm at like f5.6 to f8-ish, just so, you know, even if you're off a little bit, it can be kind of weird, especially with like eye autofocus when the camera is trying to like look at a photo. But if you do that or manual focus, like I'm sure whatever mirrorless camera you have, if it's like 24 megapixels or more, will be plenty to do this. And
Yeah.
it's like the cheapest way and the fastest way to like dump a bunch of old photos onto your hard drives and start playing with them. But
Yeah.
yeah, super cool. Um, Before we get into your first lenses, so I have this kind of episode structured. We're going to go into your like lens comparison stuff. We're going to jump into some Fuji X-T4 images that I got. We'll start with my migration birds, then we'll jump into your birds.
Yep.
Then we'll get into your vintage photo share, my vintage photo share, and then the rest of them.
All right.
It's kind of like where I got this organized.
Segmented, organized chaos. I like it.
Yeah. There's a lot. So if we don't have something, some semblance, this is going to be a 3-hour episode. So, which neither of us have today. So, the news is, I won't bore everybody with all the gear stuff because the couple of cameras that came out this last week were pretty monumental in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
The Sony A7R VI, which we had we knew basically everything about it before it happened, as we do. The Canon R6 V, and then out of nowhere the Lumix, what is it, the LX10
Panasonic L10?
Yeah, and that's really cool.
It is cool.
What is, I guess quickly, what's your breakdown of like excitement levels or what you think about just the 3 launches?
For me, I'm moved over to Nikon now, so I'm not as excited as I possibly could have been. I think
Sure.
if I was still in Sony, I definitely would have already bought and would be owning the A7 V. And so I wouldn't be like super lusting over the A7R VI because like the step downs from that in years past, I would have had the A7R IV or A7R V if I would have. So that's just not me because the A7 V did what I would have needed it to do.
Yeah.
But I moved over to the Z8 and I'm fine. It is an exciting camera. I would love to like use it because I would love to see the improvement to that viewfinder. I hear it's brighter. And that's nice. It's got everything I think we thought it was going to have. 2 CF Express Type A's are really great. Fast readout speed, and what am I thinking of? Oh, we right up to the end there, I think we knew most everything about it, but the sensor being either partially stacked or fully stacked was kind of like up in the air. It almost didn't matter too much because we knew it was just going to be faster regardless.
Right.
But it looks like the incredible do-it-all cannibalized camera for the A1 II,
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable. Fortunately, Sony and all of their higher end cameras lately have been doing the dual combo card slots, which I don't believe Nikon is doing yet, right?
Not that I know of.
And I believe that's because the Type B card is just kind of a monster compared to what the Type A is. The Type A isn't quite as fast and quite as remarkable as the Type B cards, so I wonder if it would just be like crazy hot if you threw 2 of those in there or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, SD cards are still super, super good. Like V90 cards are incredible. But yeah, the sensor's insane. It's competing, I guess, like more or less just like blanket statements where it's functionally the same as the A7 V as far as like rolling shutter and stuff, which is ridiculous for 66 point, ostensibly 67 megapixels. And I pre-ordered it. So I sold my A7CR the week before to my buddy. And so I pre-ordered this thing. I think like I talk a lot of oh yeah, next one's cool, this is cool, and like I get really gassy about cameras, but after seeing the video from this thing, being able to do up to 4K 120 and it'll match blows with the A9 III, and the only thing that I wanted from the A9 III after I started running it is just I need a little bit more megapixels for a lot of stuff I do. The thing that is going to really make the A7R VI really incredible for me is it's going to be almost 30 megapixels in crop mode.
Yeah, that's huge too.
I'm going to basically bird in crop mode all the time, especially warbs and stuff when you're doing small birds.
Yeah, because you essentially in crop mode have what would be like a full A7 IV photo, right?
Almost, right? Yeah, it's incredible. So, as far as being worried about data, the only time I'm doing lots of photos is generally wildlife, where I can be in crop mode, where it doesn't really matter to me, and it's not going to be a huge deal. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. The battery thing is good and bad. I'm not too worried about it because I've been running a Fuji and a Sony lately, and I have like a bunch of batteries of both. So like I got a second battery, so I'm gonna have two batteries upon getting it.
Nobody should be too concerned about this. Battery technology eventually does have to improve on itself.
Right.
You can't stay in one format forever.
Yeah, and I mean, just the updating everything basically internally, you're going to need to get more power to that thing. So
I think they could have done a little better choosing the name of this battery, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Most battery names are asinine, but yeah, I think that's great.
This looks like almost exactly what I would want a Z8 Mark II to look like, by the way.
Right?
I mean, a little bit of a megapixel bump, a faster shooting. I think actually in RAW, I might be able to match that in RAW right now, but I don't have pre-capture in RAW. So if I could get pre-capture in RAW, faster shooting, and to match or pretty closely match like the subject detection and AI autofocus capability, Z8 Mark II, I would probably trade up for that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's truly, what more do you want? Like, and that's cool. It feels good that it wasn't like, this is the most crazy revolutionary thing ever, but it's like, oh, this is exactly what I needed this to be like an instant buy, and like anything else I buy beyond that is because I feel like it, and it's not because I need anything, which is cool, and that's fine because that's what I like to do. But
where does that leave you with A9 III?
Keeping it for sure. It's a little different for video. It's cool having a camera that has a global shutter. That's super great for video stuff. That's super great for I really like, even though I don't use it often, being able to do 120 FPS bursts for like social content is really fun, because you can just get these like gorgeous Instagram like stories where it's like ultra slow-mo, perfect, massive resolution. So yeah, I mean that's going to be the two bodies. You'll see.
It's interesting because I think if I was in your position, I would have been just as inclined to think about selling that versus the A7CR to have the more pocketable version of a high resolution camera. But if you use the A9 III for what its uses are, more power to you.
Yeah, well, the global shutter does more than I think people give it like on the surface credit for. I can shoot 1/80,000th of a second.
Yeah, that's huge.
I can shoot flash at any shutter speed.
Yeah.
It does some really cool things that like it just is the only thing that can do that, and I utilize a little bit of those features reasonably often enough to make it happen.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I also got it for a really smoking deal.
Yeah.
Like I only spent about $5,000 on it, and it's like $7,000 now or something. And for me to try and sell it, especially with this camera coming out, it's going to be just a harder sell. So,
yep.
I think I'm pretty comfortable in that. I know Elle can use one of these if we're birding and she wants something more fun. I don't need, you know what I mean? I'm not worried about wearing out the shutter on it because it's a global shutter. Like, but yeah, it has its benefits, and I need kind of a video and photo, and now they're both enough of both of those things, like truly hybrid cameras, the A9 III and the A7R6, that I can grab just one of them and do anything I need.
Yeah.
But with both of them, I can shoot any type of video I need. I can shoot any type of the dual gain stuff is pretty interesting to me. It also has a second boost at 5,000 ISO in S-Log3, which is just enough, like high enough that's like pretty beneficial to me. I'll probably use that often for talking head stuff.
And at the same time, I was watching a comparison video today, just ISO comparisons between that and the A7 V, and at ISO 8000, which is the second base for A7 V, they look pretty close.
Yeah.
They look pretty close anyway. So having that cleaner ISO 5000 where the A7 V actually has a much dirtier looking ISO 5000 is pretty nice.
Yeah. So they trade blows enough. I was watching all the content. I almost considered getting an A7 V and just saying that's probably fine enough for what I need. But then I was like, it's like, yes, let's call it $1,700 is a lot of money, but the difference would be like I get an A7 V and still kind of want something later, or I just get this and like I'm not spending any money on camera bodies.
Right.
Speaking of which, I am interested in the 100 to 400. I think they really nailed that camera. It's just over $4,000, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit to get one. But without the hood, it is a little smaller than a 200 to 600. It's faster, obviously. It can run a teleconverter. They kind of really nailed it. It looks awesome. It's going to be really fast. It's going to be super sharp. Yeah, I mean,
4.5 at 400 is really nice. That's
yeah. I mean, that's
the price is a little tough. A little tough. Not it's in the right price for what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's a freaking f4.5 G Master Glass zoom, right? Like,
because once you get down to f4 at that range, 400, 500, 600, you start to double that price.
Right.
Like close 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Some like even Nikons, I think, are closer to 10,000.
Right.
At the f4, even f5s can be pretty expensive. So it's not like it's a bad value whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think they just nailed it. It's apparently like it doesn't feel super heavy. It's not super long. It'll.
Is that one internal zoom?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah.
So I think like both of those, I've always been interested in the 400 to 800, but I think it has diminishing returns on how like sharp the photos actually are and things like that. Just based off of what I watched with people getting photos with it, just because it's slower and things like that. If I'm gonna have to have something slower, if I put the teleconverter on the 100 to 400, it's a 200 to 800, right?
Yeah,
and it's an F9, like it's fine. So
I think for me, if I was gonna make a purchase of between one of those two, I would probably rent them both at the same time to be sure about that.
The other one's bigger and it doesn't have the benefits.
Yeah.
For the thing about the 100 to 400 is without a teleconverter, that can actually be utilized for just so much more stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I will use a 100. Like it'll be interesting because it might kind of just make having the 70 to 200 a little redundant. Like really, and I can eat that price a little bit more if I sell my $2,700 70 to 200. So it's kind of where my head's at.
I would use the heck out of it.
Yeah, I mean it's freaking awesome. So specs are good. I love the freaking giant zoom ring. It just looks comfortable. Like seeing it without the hood on the A7R VI, it's like a nice little compact package. Yeah, I'm super excited. I think they crushed it. I think Canon crushed it with the R6 V. I think the like all the feature sets were pretty good. I understand the confusion for people that are really in the sauce of like videography and cinematography because it's like not quite doing the things that you would hope that the C50 does. It like they did the Canon banhammer thing a little bit, like which is like it's just strange. But it's a nice feature set, and the freaking price. If I had zero things and I had to do video, it'd be really hard to not look at Canon because that has that trades some proper blows with the the Z6 III and the ZR in a way that like if I was doing videography, maybe not cinematography, like because I think it's a harder gamble between the ZR and the R6 V if you're doing like proper, let's say commercial cinematography or like music videos or something. But if you do like videography, you're doing like some event stuff and you do a lot of mixed. I would trust the Canon like way more. Yeah, it has a little bit broader of a like all-encompassing set of codecs and like feature sets that just slapping a monitor on it and getting a couple of things and it would be like lights out. You could shoot anything with that for again that and like the 45mm one too, and you could probably start a freaking video career with that thing. So
I think so. Yeah, they did a really good job. I didn't look into the R6 V as much just because so much was going on this week, but it looks very solid. And essentially, if you know what the R6 III is about, you've got the R6 V just in a slightly different form factor.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about that new Lumix?
It looks fun, man. And I also was completely ignorant to that already established lineup of cameras.
Yeah.
And I would honestly love to try out any one of them, but this one looks really good. It's got the GH7 sensor in it. And so you can kind of trust the still files are going to look pretty great for being a Micro Four Thirds camera. I would love to play with it. I did notice like If you're going for compact in the idea of Micro Four Thirds, you're not getting the most compact format there is for that,
Right.
but it does look like a well-rounded package in that system.
Dude, EVF, flip screen, 24 to 75, like equivalent zoom.
Yeah,
It's it's like it's a freaking workhorse. It's got the bigger battery, the slightly bigger battery than
Also,
some of the older ones.
that gold edition one looks super sick. I actually really like that.
The like auto cap is so nice too. Like
cool.
it makes it such a cool little camera. I wish I didn't have the Fuji, and I wish I didn't just buy a big camera because it's like it's so tempting. All the video specs are like solid. It would be such a cool little camera. And I have a sweet spot in my heart for all things Micro Four Thirds, so it's cool that they're embracing that.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of areas where Panasonic can earn back a little bit more mind share in the photo community, and this one I think hit some kind of sweet nerve for people. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to maybe look at this and enter into the Panasonic universe.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool too because it's a fixed lens camera, like you can one and done it if you really want. You don't have to get married to it, but you'll play with it, have a very standard, zoom range, and be able to do kind of everything with it. And then if you like the sensor and you like the menus and you like the video codecs because they're quite good, you'll be like, oh damn, I think I kind of want to play with even the full frame stuff or whatever. But the GH sensors have always been good. Some of my absolute favorite photos I've ever taken, even to this day, are on a GH4 and GH5. So pretty cool. Pretty sick. And just like a keeping the EVF, having the flip screen, like it really didn't do anything that like there's nothing to complain about really. If you're complaining, it's because you want to. Like it's a $1,500 camera that does kind of everything properly. Yeah. Which is sweet.
I have no complaints as a person on the sidelines of the Panasonic universe myself. I would like to play with that camera.
Yeah, heck yeah. I might try to see if Lens Rental gets some recently, and maybe rent one just to play with it. And because I don't know that I would still buy it nowadays, especially with the Fuji and stuff. And we'll get into that, but
this could be one of those cameras like 5 years from now, if it's like $800, could be like a nice buy.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, even less than that. A couple of years from now, you see one on Facebook Marketplace for $1,000, and you're like, you know what? Yeah. Because it does I think it does 4K 120 and stuff. It does like all the stuff like the GH5 or GH6 and 7 can do. So I think it's probably fine. You could run a whole YouTube channel just on that camera if you really wanted to.
For sure, you could. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into. I do have a question because I think I'll just tee up, but it does look like in your first set of 4 images on lens A, one of them says that it's a different lens than the other 3.
That there could be a reason for that.
Okay, cool, perfect. I'll let you introduce this. So I have the folders set up just how you sent them. We have lens A and lens B, and then some other stuff. But tell me about your little experiments with these new lenses.
Yeah. Okay. I've been keeping this quiet for a little while.
Yeah.
It's been a very long week and a very long few weeks since our last episode. MPB. We both got a little bit of MPB action in the last month.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored. And in fact, my experience was not quite flawless, but it's all right.
Yeah.
28 to 105. Sigma is gone now. I did okay. They knocked off $100 for whatever mysterious reason, but they still offered me more than what B&H and Adorama did quote me. So I'm happy with what ended up there. So I did a trade. Lens A is the Thipak 28mm 1.4.
Oh dang.
And the Chimera, and this is build quality 10 out of 10. Thipak is doing it, man. All metal. It's a beautiful lens. When Thipak kind of started, like a couple of months ago, maybe even more like a year ago, started getting a little bit more popular, and I knew that they were releasing on the Z mount as well. I knew I was going to end up with at least one Thipak lens, and now for sure I'm getting more Thipak lenses. This is the only gripe I have is that it doesn't have electronic contacts to send data off, which is
a bummer.
But I really like the images that are coming off of the camera at 28 mil. This is an interesting focal length for me because I don't really shoot 35. I do like 40, and I do enjoy like wider, like 20, 16 mil. So trying to get familiar in that somewhat 35 millimeter space, and 28 being nice and wide. I do like it because you can get nice and close too, so you can get some really interesting looks at 1.4. That being said, it's a beautiful lens. And there's some stuff about the build quality that are like, why did they, they've got this, what is it? This distance indicator for focus
yeah.
on it. It is quite a nice looking lens. I wouldn't use that so much. It's like a hyperfocal distance meter or whatever that's supposed to be. But image quality, I really like. It's really fun to play with. The focus ring, super smooth.
Word.
Premium. They build it to be a premium feeling manual focus lens, and they really, really did it. So
Nice.
these are more or less just test shots of
Right.
a day with it. I've got a lot more that I want to do with it because this lens is fun to use at 1.4, fairly sharp, no problems, and stopped down, f2, f2.8, really, really sharp. The biggest optical flaw is very, very heavy vignette at 1.4.
Sure.
Very heavy, like probably almost not correctable vignette at 1.4.
Yeah.
But I take those. I don't really mind even a heavy vignette.
Yeah.
I waited for this guy to look out the window. He knew I was there.
Oh.
So nothing spectacular yet, but it's warming up. It's nearly summer now.
Sure.
And I cannot wait to be walking around downtown Marquette and everything else, just snapping shots of good light in with a manual focus lens on the ZF. That's what it's all about. Lens B, if you want to go to that folder, is the Voigtlander 35 millimeter f1.2 APS-C lens. This is a crop sensor lens. And the only reason I did that is because I could have either gotten one Voigtlander lens for about $800 or split it between two lenses that I really wanted to try. And you know what? I'll just run a small APS-C lens in crop mode if it means I get to try out a Voigtlander lens for a while.
Sure.
I probably will end up with a crop sensor camera to stick this on at some point, so I don't mind. Build quality on a Voigtlander lens. This is my first, but as I understand it, they're all superb. I do realize that there is some hit for sure when you use this in crop mode on a ZF, because what I'm left with, and I think I had ended up downsizing the final anyway, as I do with my exports. But it's not awesome. And I also watch plenty of reviews because we have the option to also get the f2 APO lenses that are, not quite as fast, but they have a more superior optical formula. Right. So I also understood, like, if I'm going to get a 1.2 lens, it's going to already come with a hit to optical quality. However, there is something to be said about just the fun of shooting with a small f1.2 lens. And this is APS-C, so take that for what it is. But I've just been enjoying throwing this on the Z. I mean, look how small this is for what you're getting out of that. It's been fun. So it ends up being like a 48 or something close to a 50 millimeter focal length equivalent. Yeah. Both lenses have been a joy. I mean, the focus ring on this also smooth, just superb. So I have previously used other lenses of the manual focus kind that are not so fun to use and are cheap quality. These are not, and I'm having fun with that.
Yeah. That's everything, right? That's why people like the M mount lenses and like especially old brass lenses and stuff like that. It's like having that meaty, nice, smoothness and stuff is super huge. But that's pretty cool. I didn't expect it to be APS-C. That's pretty wild. But you looking to get a ZFC eventually, or
yeah, probably. I was actually quite close to getting a ZFC through that trade because it was going to be a ZFC in one lens if I could manage it, and I was close. I would have had to pay like an extra $200 or something over that, but I was like, I'm just going to go with the Thighpack because I really wanted the Thighpack. But eventually I'll get a ZFC, or maybe I'm using this as an excuse to hold off for another year to see if a ZFC 2 comes
Yeah, right. Oh man, that'd be wild.
Yeah.
Um, well, right on. I'm glad that you've had a good experience. My MPV experience was similar in that they offered more even after the adjustment when they received the stuff than either of the other places,
Yeah.
which is cool. And they have a good selection. So that's obviously what I'm getting into now is kind of a bunch of stuff from my the 23 mil, which is the newer LMWR version of the 23 mil f1.4 from Fuji.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, again, probably similarly, a lot of these are just test shots and playing around. I made a quick reel just kind of talking about using the camera that you're actually going to take with you, etc. A theme that we have on here all the time, but just to make some stuff just before I sold or sent out the A7CR. And again, like I say in that video, the hump, the EVF hump, is literally the difference in something that's really carryable and not. The having the 50 mil 1.4 GM on the A7CR is easier to carry in a small bag than the X-T4 and this lens, which is smaller than the 50 mil, just because it's really tall. I assume you have a similar experience with the ZF as just like a tall, old school style camera.
Yep.
So like I don't necessarily love that, but I've been giving it a really fair shot. So I have just a handful of the stuff that I grabbed. So looking at sharp, I did this to see if there was like some CA. This lens is remarkable. Like it's super sharp. It has like no faults. It has enough character in the fall off. Like it's a properly amazing 35 mil focal length equivalent. So as always, some cats. So these are actually I have to remember. This one is a straight out of camera JPEG.
Okay.
This one is an edit with my conversion that I do.
Yeah.
This one is I edited it a little bit, but like just a selfie with this thing, and it's remarkable.
Nice.
Again, this is an older Fujifilm. It's the 26 megapixel sensor, and it's super, super nice. Walking around the neighborhood, I was channeling my Ryan vibes.
Absolutely.
And saw this light here, and I was like, sick. So this is actually a Tri-X recipe that I have on there.
Sweet.
And then here's a little comparison I made. So this is a film sim. And the white balance wasn't perfect for it. It was a warmer film sim, but I generally like how it looks on stuff. But then I just took the raw and edited it how I would for like my blog. And if there's ever a reason to have raw plus JPEG with these like Fuji and ZF cameras, it's like I think we spoke briefly, and I'm pretty much using the RAWs more often than not. It's nice to have the recipes on, so you can have essentially like a LUT, so you can kind of see what you're looking at and kind of have the vibe. But oftentimes I just end up going to the RAW and editing it how I want to anyway, because I have my own presets and it's super easy for me. But the difference and like doing the film thing and then going, oh, what if I don't actually want a film thing? I want it to look like high key, like a nice product photo. And it's like, geez, okay. Like, again, this lens is gorgeous. So
adjacent side note. I think it was Mike in the Discord last night, NX Studio, if you do have a ZF and use recipes, you can take those RAWs into NX Studio and apply those recipes on your RAWs.
That's cool.
So you can have a nice one-to-one, like right on the RAW file instead of using a recipe on a JPEG. Just very interesting. Yeah,
which is great. Or like I said, right? So you're going to do, have a recipe on your camera. So you have like the LUT and you're kind of like sussing out the vibe. You can have an idea of what your white balance will look like. And you're like, okay, yeah, this is kind of like the thing. But instead of like going in and then not having enough latitude to kind of change the JPEG that you shot, you can even go into the RAW. I'm assuming you can drop the recipe that you had on your RAW and then adjust it like it's a RAW.
Correct.
I have to imagine.
In NX Studio, you can use the literal recipe on your RAW file.
Right, but you would have the recipe, but you could still adjust it as though it was a RAW. So like you get the best of both worlds, where you can still get complete, even if you love the vibe. but you're like, you know what? The highlights are kind of blown out on this guy. You can still have the raw latitude, go right back and drop that freaking recipe on it. And
the negative there is you have to use NX Studio.
yeah, but you know, it'd be.
But you can.
But if it's just small things, that's not a big deal.
No, it's not. Yeah.
And then here's a couple just from yesterday. So L's sisters did a little bachelorette party thing for the girls, and I went over and hung out with Evan. He's got this, like, he found this on Amazon. It's a little yakitori, like, coal like grill thing. So we did yakitori, and this is my Tri-X thing again. Here's another one. I think this is like the Portrait one that I have. Nice. And I really enjoy using this camera. This actually is with a glimmer glass too, so like some of the highlights get a little softer, and things like that. But
nice.
It's certainly been fun. I'm not sure yet what the longevity of having this Fuji is. I still want to rent one of their telephotos and see how it does on birds, just for fun while I have it, because I got it with a battery grip. But when we get into my film photo stuff, I've been running around with the A9 III as my daily for the last like half a week maybe. Basically, just because some stuff we'll get into. But anyway, it's been fun. It took me a couple of weeks because it's been really, really hectic with the wedding, but I finally in the last couple have been out and kind of shooting some stuff and taking my camera out, and that's been rewarding. So
all right.
Moving along, so we'll get into like birds recently, because like the big migration weekend was that last weekend?
For
you. Yeah, for me. But it's the global migration, like whatever they want to call it. So we were out. I think most of these are Tawas. We went to some other. We have some from Tuttle Marsh and stuff, but I'll just kind of burn through some of these because it was fun. Elle and I we went up to Oscoda to kind of mock up our arbor and like just kind of finalize some things and get our idea, practice our dance, do some things for the wedding. And then obviously it's a great destination to bird. So we went to a couple of spots. I believe there will be a vlog of it. I kind of vlogged it, but we'll see what happens. But we got a lot of the standard hitters. This is a great example of I leave my ISO between like 1600 and 3200 at all times, and this is 1/10,000th of a second. So you just put that thing in aperture priority, and you know that your exposure will be good. The A9 III is amazing for that. Baltimore Oriole, we saw the most buffleheads in one go that we've ever seen. I think it was close to 30. Wow. At Tuttle Marsh, which is sweet. That's one of Elle's favorites. And even slightly cropped and everything, like that's still the detail coming off of a A9 III. It's a 24 megapixel sensor.
They're a fun bird to watch, especially on a calm, smaller lake that's nice and flat, because they're skipping around all over playing. Yeah,
they're really cool. We saw a little bit of that. This unfortunately is a very massive marsh, but it was cool to see that many. We did find a Sora again.
Look at that.
This is our first Sora in Michigan. Yeah. And we were literally leaving Tuttle Marsh, and we heard him do his woo, 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 woo. And we're like,
heard them,
Yeah, and I was like, there is a Sora right there. These people were leaving. I was like, was that a Sora? Did you just hear that? And we literally, it was probably 20 yards from where the cars were parked. And we walked back over, and Elle spotted it. She got better photos than me. I haven't seen him yet, but I did at least get one ideable Sora photo. So our first Michigan Sora. Grosbeaks, we love these guys.
I love Grosbeaks.
They operatic song and just like super good. Black-throated green, another favorite. So Tawas State Park Point Lighthouse, whatever it's called. It's this like huge destination because all of these birds basically have to go across the lake and then they hit it. And we learned there was 40, we missed it, but there was 40 red-headed woodpeckers that flew over in one morning, not all at once, but just like one after the other. And it's because this point juts out just far enough in Michigan that it's the landing spot for all these birds to rest.
Yeah.
But it's also preserved and also gets crazy bugs. So a lot of these you can actually see like how freaking many bugs there are and stuff, and it was just funny to see all these little guys chomp them.
Gosh, 40 redheadeds. Those are some of the most beautiful woodpeckers too.
Yeah, it's super cool. We only got a flash. I didn't even put it in here, but a bad photo. You know, but you know, the A9 III doing work, man.
Yeah.
600 mil at f6.3, like wide open. All these bugs. Got some indigo buntings, one of our
Oh, look at
favorites.
that. Yeah.
Did you know this
Oh,
angry
that's a cool pose.
angry boy? Now this one's pretty sweet. So this is a summer tanager,
Heck yeah.
and I got all this like, I don't think it's saliva, but like water coming out of his mouth or something.
That might be squished bug juice.
Yeah, maybe. So he was definitely chomping away, and he was
Is that a immature?
yeah. So he's in between plumage and just like vibing. He was so
That is
stoked.
really cool.
All the freaking people were like kind of surrounding him. He was probably, you know, 15 feet high above us or whatever, and he didn't care. He was like, "Look at me, I'm beautiful." Like he was just like posing for us for I don't know. We left and came back, and he was still doing it. So plenty of bugs there to keep the birds entertained.
Just that little bit helps add so much to the photo too.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
yeah, it's super cool. And then I got one of him, you know,
Oh, nice.
sending it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But just a beautiful bird. Like I've never seen one this mixed up in color, so it's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, I mostly just see them red, so like, you know, just
Right.
kind of like a not quite scarlet tanager red. We got one piping plover,
Yeah.
banded. It's not Miss Piggy. It's much smaller than Miss Piggy, so I don't know if this one has a name or not, but they are banded up there. There's a whole beachhead that's dedicated to them.
Yeah.
And then we did also get our scarlet tanager. We didn't get any great photos because he bailed really fast, but you know, also
Yeah.
another favorite. And then we got just more chaotic bugs. But yeah, so for those who have not seen older episodes or whatever, Tawa State Park Point, whatever, is the place that I started birding at. I had a 70-200 in my teleconverter, and Elle wasn't even shooting photos yet. She was just on her Merlin. And
That's like starting with an A7R VI. You're in bird heaven to
Yeah.
begin with.
well, and I got like to this day, my best photo of a scarlet tanager was that day. It was my first indigo buntings I ever saw, and I got even better photos than these ones there. My first rose-breasted grosbeak. Like I got all of those birds, so it was cool to like go get them again and have that experience. And there was like very nice birders there the whole day that we were chatting with. And
Does that ruin like all other locations for you?
no. We're fortunate in that we travel a lot to bird, so we get
Yeah.
that experience often. We just did it in Florida. We just did it in December in Texas, and
That's true.
yeah. So we're spoiled in that we dedicate all of our free time to trying to go somewhere to bird. But this is like my favorite. Condensed. You don't have to hike very far. You just do a little loop on a point, and you just find all these birds.
So that's why I only bird in my local trails, so that anytime I go anywhere, I'm always impressed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Lansing is okay, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not even Marquette or Ishpeming, or and it's definitely not Tawas.
Yeah, I talk, but Marquette and all of the like shoreline of Lake Superior is lots of good birding opportunities.
Oh yeah. So moving on to that, it was good. We're still kind of in it. We're hoping to get a couple more days before the wedding, and then obviously we're gonna head out to Yellowstone. So I'll be doing a little bit of birds and then other wildlife, which will be really exciting. And hopefully it's still early enough that we'll get some kind of interesting birds and things like that. But moving right along, we are at this is April, Lake Bancroft.
Oh yeah,
for you.
I think this was the weekend that we recorded the last episode. So like
Okay.
I remember talking about getting the horned grebe that's in this set on the episode like the day before or something.
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. So this was just a quick. I think I want to say I spent like an hour one morning, a little bit of rain, and then I think I went back for this guy in the afternoon, the horned grebe, to get a shot of him because I had a feeling that he wasn't going to stick around very long,
Sure.
and he did not stick around very long at all. So we have the buffleheads. I really like sitting down on this lake because it's a very calm lake. We've got some ringneck ducks, and some of my favorite stuff is getting as low as I can to that surface level and watching them play on the water.
Yeah.
And they've got a bunch of different little like habitats. So there's like a very marshy end of this lake. This picture does a good job of kind of showing what they have to like weave in and out of. They have a nice open area in the middle that they hang out in. There's a nice merganser, female merganser. So a couple different things were on the lake for a few weeks there, but this lake is small enough that those buffleheads and things like that, they kind of disappear after a few weeks, and I haven't seen much activity since this weekend.
Sure.
So I've been kind of doing more work on the trails lately, but I'm hoping that some things start to come back. I did a lot of work with like hooded mergansers and stuff last summer, so I'm really hoping I start to see a little bit more activity, like when the bugs and stuff really pop up on this lake.
Yeah, heck yeah, that's cool. So
fun.
the point of view and where the lights are in a lot of these is reminding me, I think it was Ray Hennessy's like guide to like timing.
Scott Keys, I think.
Scott Keys, yeah, that video that you shared. It's very reminiscent of like kind of that stuff. So yeah, very cool.
And the one thing that I really enjoyed noting about this lake in particular is last year I watched 2 adult pied-billed grebes have 2 babies, and this year
Nice.
I have counted a return of at least those 4 and 1 more pied-billed grebe that I might not have known about last year. So 5 total pied-billed grebe are back on this lake. So that's nice.
Yeah, heck yeah. They're my favorite. I love those guys. I think they're so cute. They have like the cutest little face, and then they have the most psychotic call that I've ever heard in my life.
They're a fun bird.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Really nice, like avoiding really like bad highlights in the water and stuff. So those are good. Man, every time I've gotten like my favorite bird is by the water, I'm stuck with like super whitewashed freaking stuff, because I just don't spend a lot of time actually on the water shooting these days. And I love how it looks, especially with those browns and stuff, and with a little bit of golden light coming from the, I think it was from like the right behind side.
Yeah. So then I want to say, what was this weekend? A couple of weekends later, anyway. I had the opportunity. May 1st, yeah. I had the opportunity to go down to the old stomping grounds and spend a couple of mornings on the Jordan River again.
Yeah.
And this area, kind of like Tawas for you, maybe not as many diverse species, but just a very condensed area with lots of different things going on. This area has seen a return of a lot of sandhill cranes, which is really nice. I think the first 2 years that I started really hanging out here, I saw some sandhill cranes and they kind of disappeared for a while, and now they're really back in large numbers, which is really cool. Yeah. The sunrise on this particular morning, the first morning, was really ramping up to be nice. This pink glow was really starting to grow, and then the clouds kind of washed over after a little bit. Rough-legged hawk, I believe that is. I'm not good with my hawks. He looks a little immature also, but that band around the eyes, I think, is a good tell. But maybe I'm still wrong.
Sure. Yeah, there's so much variation. I've been wrong a million times trying to say I got the one or the other.
Yeah, but if that's a rough-legged hawk, I believe that would be my first rough-legged hawk.
Cool.
And he gave me 2 different flybys, which was really cool. Let me see what else we got in here. Oh yeah, just more sandhill cranes and some mallards. Kind of, I think this one does a good job of showing just like how close everything is to each other.
Yeah.
And nobody is bothered by anybody else. There's so many geese. There's so many ducks. There's so many sandhill cranes. They're all just like one big ecosystem, and it's so evident here. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And then we had some greater yellowlegs, which is really cool. There's a bunch of these different types of shorebirds, and it's like any given day you're seeing groups of different ones.
Yeah.
So often there's spotted sandpipers, but on this morning it was like, I don't know, 6 or 8 different greater yellowlegs. And these guys are fun because they're not they have a good agility, but they're not so fast that you can't track them.
Yeah.
So when you do get a good pan on them, you can really get some nice shots just like clipped right over the water like that.
Yeah, I just despise shorebirds so much because we've Not because they're like bad birds or whatever, but because so many of them look so freaking similar, and I have spent a million years trying to ID all the different shorebirds I've had. So it's
I think
nice.
that's part of the fun.
Yeah, greater yellow legs are nice because they're easy to pick up on Merlin because they're loud a lot, and then once you see them like fly away, you're like, okay, cool. But yeah, no, it's cool that they're just big enough that they're not like snipes or anything where they just like disappear, and you're like, no, I want it, not, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like painful to try and try and get. It's cool. That's a nice shot. I like that a lot.
Yeah, thanks. And then again, greater
Yeah.
yellow legs. This is kind of like where I was watching them before they started to fly around some more. The sun coming up, and this might have been on the second morning now. The sun coming up here on this morning gave me some hard light to work with for a little while, which is nice in this area because it there's some hills right to the east. So you have to wait like 10 minutes after like official sunrise before you get that light.
Sure.
But once you do have it, it just cascades over the river just in this really nice way. So I really like this. And I've gotten different shots from this area in just this kind of way, but I can't help myself when I come back here like that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh dang.
Okay, so we have these two mergansers. These guys are fun. These guys, and with most ducks, I think, just like a duck just floating on the water is not so much fun to look at. But mergansers and buffleheads, I love when they start to get in this like play mode, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it has something to do with breeding or whatever. But they kicking up the water. They're in nice enough light. This is the kind of stuff that I really want to hone in on this year.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Super cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just catching the light on the water.
You want to talk, boy? Come at me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. Is this the other?
Osprey,
Ooh,
Osprey.
yeah. We love Osprey.
And one thing to know about in this area is there are two bald eagle nests that have been there for probably decades at this point, man-made nests that one pair of eagles has always occupied up until 2 years ago.
Dang.
Now Canada geese occupy them. And so I think without the bald eagle presence, the osprey that do occupy other areas of the town are now hunting on the river in this area. I think they were previously just steering clear of the bald eagles.
Sure.
So to see osprey back is really cool. It's just one of those like circle of life things where, if you go to the other areas, you find the osprey but no eagles, and if you go here, you find now the osprey if the eagles are gone. So you take what you can get, and they're fun to watch hunt, man. When you see them hover and dive, it's so cool.
I have blown a lot of hours just watching osprey. Elle can get kind of annoyed by it because like it's not like, especially if we're somewhere like Florida or something, and I'm like, oh man, look at these osprey hunting or whatever, and she's like, come on, we have so many osprey photos. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I love when they smack the water and stuff. It never gets old.
Birds of prey are just so much fun to watch, man.
Yeah. Laughing gulls and some terns.
Bonaparte.
Yeah, Bonaparte.
Yeah, we don't get those very often. I saw one or two, like 2 or 3 years ago, and so on the second morning, I saw this group of them. I'm like, oh, hey, look at that. And then terns and some other gulls in the mix. But to see the Bonapartes was really, really cool.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And the final bird on the day, but right before my camera died.
Yeah.
Nice Coopers.
We love a Coopers.
Yeah. He gave me a look and took off.
Yeah, heck yeah.
That ended my my time on the Jordan River for that weekend.
Yeah, right on. So was that the last time that you've been birding, or have you been able to get out in the last week or so?
It had been slow in the last week, but I went out today with the kids.
I saw that. I saw the photo of Aurora on your story. Yeah.
Because during everyone else's good burning times, the UP specifically had a major cold front come through. I mean, it snowed again.
Yeah, right.
And then it was just like in 30s and 40s for a good stretch of days. And so on the weekend that I could have and wanted to, nothing migrated.
Right.
It was just dead. So this weekend, I mean, literally, I think it was Friday afternoon, I got in my car, 81 degrees up here.
Okay.
A week before it snowed.
Yep.
Okay. So
we love that.
Yeah. This morning we got out. I don't have any photos because they're still on this camera right now, but
for sure. Yeah.
Magnolia warbler, Nashville warbler.
Cool.
We saw, we've seen lots of cormorants, but my daughter was able to get a nice little shot of a cormorant through the trees down to the water. What else did we see? Lots of different warblers. We were coming up on the trails right in the beginning, and I pulled the Merlin app out because I was showing my kids like, hey, we can figure out what birds we're listening to, or we can have a pretty good guess here. And it says blue jay, it says ovenbird, and I was like, oh yeah, we hear lots of birds. That's interesting. And then we get like right under where we hear the blue jay, and I look up and it's a gray bird, and I'm like, huh. And it comes down. And then it pings ovenbird again. I'm like, huh. And I pulled the camera up and I got a good shot of it. And it's a mockingbird.
Yeah.
It's a northern mockingbird showing us a bunch of different calls. So I got to teach the kids about like what like a real mockingbird is doing here,
Right.
and watch as we see it make its call, and it says blue jay and it says ovenbird. And I'm like, it's tricking us. It is doing what, it's doing the namesake. So we saw the northern mockingbird, gray catbird. We heard rough grouse a bunch, so
Nice.
the kids had a really good time helping me find the birds.
Yeah.
Black and white warbler, just a bunch of different things. So this weekend is really good. I'm really hoping next weekend warms up even more. We're gonna go out with some garbage bags and pick up on the trail because the trail is trashed after the winter.
Yeah.
But finally, the snow is gone and it's warm, and we're enjoying it. And I'm gonna take advantage of it so much.
Yeah, heck yeah, that was a long one.
For sure was a long one.
I like watching mockingbirds when they're doing like, sometimes we've seen them. We saw one in Florida recently, and it had like 7 calls, and it'll just like cycle through them like it's on a playlist, and it'll just keep going. Like, look at all the things I can do, and it's like,
yep, it went back and
cool,
forth. Blue
man.
jay, ovenbird, blue jay, ovenbird.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'll jump into my little series here for our photo share. So
photo share.
If you missed the last few episodes, we've been kind of a long run, but we're doing a vintage lens photo share. I guess my preface for this whole series is this one was actually difficult for me. Because I got the Fuji and then wedding and job stuff, and then like we've just been so busy, and up until like the last 2 weeks, I really didn't have a whole lot of time to do what I had planned, which was really try to give it a go with every single one of my lenses. I played with all of them at least once, but then didn't really pull a lot out. And then I found myself, especially because so many people are making videos right now about the Helios, I have a 44-2 and a 44M. And I put the 44-2 on my, at the time, A7CR, and then lately, which I'll go into, the A9 III. I think I'm just to the point after doing so much manual focus and stuff like that, that I think I went through it a little bit on the last episode, but it's not for me. Like, it's fun sometimes, but it's not something like I don't want for my walk around camera to be manual focus. I want to be able to like pull it out and be like, oh, dang, and just like take some photos, or especially if we're with the kids or if we're with any of the family doing whatever. I like to just be kind of incognito, blast off a few photos, and then like put the camera away. Is kind of how I like to utilize it. So it was cool to force myself to be in that environment again, but also good to know that like unless I'm doing something like video related, I don't really mind that much of having just like good autofocus.
Sure.
Which is important.
I don't think you're in the minority there.
No. I say that because so many people, especially nowadays, when you're like just trying to come up with like some kind of content, because like you just have to, not because everybody does it just to be different, but there's going to be a little bit of that. They're just like, what can I talk about on YouTube to make like views and things like that? People really lean into this stuff, and like all these people are like, do I need to get a Fujifilm? Do I need like to run a Leica lens like on my camera? Like you don't. Like try it affordably. Do something like get a vintage lens for well under $100, or get one of the new modern ones if you want to make sure that it's optically a little better, like some of the Voigtlander stuff and things like that. When you're still woefully under, let's say like $700, but it's definitely higher quality than some janky old, probably half broken lens that you'll get from Facebook Marketplace. And definitely explore it, but don't feel like you need to do it kind of like I did for a while. Like, what's wrong with me that I don't want to do that? Nothing. I just don't want to do that, and that's totally fine. It's a different way to shoot, which is fun. So why I started using the A9 III a bunch is because for some reason, and I've mentioned it before, Sony gave this camera 2 film presets as a creative look, and they didn't give it to the C series cameras, which is asinine to me.
It's a weird one. Yeah.
So stupid, because like there's just not somebody using an A9 III for that purpose. You could argue for the A1, like cool, like all right, like that's like kind of the everything camera. That's kind of fun, whatever. Give it to the most expensive like Sony camera. But like I'm not blasting 120 FPS in a what's called like instant film preset. Dumb. Stupid. Sony, that's whack. Give it to the other cameras. Give it to the A7 V if you haven't. Like, that's the people that will use it and they'll love it. And I'll get into why they'll love it. So I actually did this backwards for some of these, it looks like, for the first one at least. So this is the RAW. This is running a Helios. I was at work doing some shots with Alex working on one of our Mach 1s, which is a slide that is produced from basically a bar that has the internals milled out already. We hand finish all our stuff. He does a good lot of it. He's very meticulous. Dude's a legend. This is just like a light edit. It's not my film preset. I think it's what I call Copper Zone, and then I tweaked it a little. This is not the exact same photo, but this is what the instant preset looks like.
Oh yeah.
I led with this one because one of the things about running like film sims is if you're kind of new to photography, just slapping a film sim on it is not going to give you good results sometimes. This is like too flat. This looks unedited. It almost looks like a log photo.
Yeah.
And it's just like not very good. Whereas like this one, again, still flat. This is the instant profile. I like it a lot more than the other film sim. The other one is just like kind of mid, and I think my old boy preset's far better. But I'm getting a little bit of light, flare from the top left, and with a little bit more color and a little bit of depth from actually being away from him in the depth. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. I could throw that into like my story at work, and that would work really well. But then, I just go and I edit one and I'm like, okay, but like for this particular thing, too flat. Because the colors, you want them to pop a little bit. This is a contrasty.
Really really well here. I like it.
Right. And then you go here, same preset, quite good. Harder light, so there's a lot more natural contrast.
Yeah.
You don't need the camera to do the heavy lifting on the contrast because you're working with hard light and a dark dog and a lot of depth. The Helios looks pretty good here. It's not really doing its like super swirly thing because I think those trees are maybe just too far away to do it. But the fall off is super nice. This is pretty sharp. And this is a puppy running around with a ball. So I was stoked. I was so stoked that I got anything. The 1/8,000th of a second helped a lot. But then again, I take it and I'm looking at it on camera. I'm like, oh, that looks really nice. And then I just do like two things in Lightroom. And I'm like, okay, like high contrast, kind of punchy, fun. Still using a vintage lens, right? So, maybe they're pushing above $100, but like that's pretty sharp. And this is a, sub $100 lens essentially. It's pretty awesome. And it has some character and it's great. This is why a lot of people run this lens. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Went out to dinner with my mom and Scott, and some dude had a 72 Nova, it looked like. I think it's a 72. So I took a couple shots here. Here's a punchy edit from the RAW. Here's the flatter instant. Just pretty good stuff. The camera does well. That's the instant. If I go here and if I even do it without, like, I like that more. And that was actually my edit on top of my old boy thing, but it's like, I don't know. Here's another one from actually yesterday at Evans, where which one is that? This was the film sim, and then this was my film. This is old boy.
The number 12 is the instant film sim?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So, right. And then so sometimes if it's like it just looks flat. It doesn't even look like it's like the filmy.
Well, I was going to say it looks much more contrasty than your other one.
Right.
But because you are looking, you've got a really naturally contrasty look.
Yeah.
On scene.
But yeah, and then I actually flattened it out for this because I wanted more dynamic range. But
yeah.
Again, that was like 2 adjustments. I think I did highlights and shadows and then hit old boy.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. Here's another one where this is chicken skin on the yakitori grill.
Cool shot.
Again, super sharp, like as sharp as it can be for, again, a sub $100 lens. And then one where without fixing the angle because I was doing it kind of cockeyed.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad,
I
but
think for like humans and food and things that probably should have some vibrance and some contrast, I think that instant is probably just a bit too flat for my taste.
I think all of them are. I think I need to go in and I can probably adjust like the curve and add a little bit, break the black a little bit, like make it a little, more intense and deep, but still lift it, just so it doesn't look. Because again, this is like, it looks good on the back of the camera, and then I get it on the computer, and it just looks kind of like log footage almost.
Right.
Like it's right. And then like even the grain isn't even that substantial. You're like, okay, well, there's not even really grain, so it's just a flat shot.
Right.
A
little on the cool side, I think.
Yeah. But like,
but
there's
still cool to have.
Yeah, it's neat, especially if you just want to like try to get some vibes. But then like, even just Lightroom grain from this preset, like that works for this image so well.
Yeah.
Make it crunchy, make it grind. I don't know. Essentially what I'm saying is, much like running the Fuji, it's cool to kind of have the option because it can give you a starting point, especially if like you kind of don't know how you want to edit something.
Right.
This is all this stuff is a lot punchier than I usually edit nowadays, but this is like probably how I was editing a lot of my stuff like pre-COVID, like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the flatness drew it out of me. Because I'm like looking and I was like, oh, I don't know. I want it to punch and crunch a lot more. Like this is basically getting borderline like Jared Poland's Skittles, right? Like,
yes.
Where it's like, okay, like what? I don't. This isn't the actual edit; it's the JPEG. But, yeah. Anyway,
I think in the same vein, I use the those film sims on the ZF to just give me a little inspiration, and it probably, for the most part, I'm using the raw plus JPEG and getting somewhere close to that, and probably adding a little more contrast than what I was looking at too.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's a cool tool. But again, like I said with all the other stuff, it doesn't have to be the thing that you utilize.
Right.
It's just another tool, and you can use it how you want to use it.
Now, I would never use raw plus JPEG birding or like wildlife or sports or weddings. Heck no. I'm just going to shoot the raws.
Yep.
But in the slower fashion, especially using the ZF to just do some casual stuff, more intentioned stuff. Yeah. Yep. It's been nice.
For sure. All right. We have yours here. Let's get into them.
So this was the same weekend that we went down, that I went down, and was the reason why we went down to Charlevoix, East Jordan area. My wife and I went to a ball, the Storykeepers Ball. It was themed for like fantasy books, so like Harry Potter and the like. And everybody sat at different tables, and a lot of people actually dressed up like damn near like 100% full on cosplay dressed up.
Sure.
And it was just fun. We had some drinks, had some food, danced. It was really fun. So I brought the Z8, of course, in the 500 PF to do the stuff on the river. I didn't want to bring two cameras, so I just also brought the 50 1.4D lens, the old one.
Yep.
And because I was going to have the FTZ anyway for the 500 PF, just slap this on the FTZ on the Z8.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. I found that I actually really, look at the flaring on these images. It's just wild.
It's actually way sharper than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'm sure the Z8 is helping out a little bit there.
Well, yeah. Or it would make it worse, right? Like if it wasn't up to snuff, like a higher
action. Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of you're at a wash, but that's pretty good.
What I noticed, I think I supplied you two images there back and forth of in like really heavily in the flare and then blocking it a little bit, and you could see like what the coating is doing with and without that direct light coming straight through the glass.
For sure.
And we have come a long way with coatings on glass.
Oh yeah.
It's just amazing because nowadays if you do this comparison, they're both gonna look like the second lens, right, or the second image, right, with a lot of contrast. So seeing like the sun come right through and seeing it wash right over.
This isn't too obnoxious though. I actually really like the haloing. I think this is kind of aggressive.
It's so aggressive.
But but it's not bad because this is actually so pleasant. Like the haze of it actually is quite good. Some of the older vintage stuff I have, when it does that, it just kind of makes it super flat and really like zero contrast. I assume you probably punched it up a little bit in contrast, like
for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, even so, like
like
you can tell here, this is like awesome.
Yeah. This lens does suffer from a lot of CA, but I was able to mitigate that quite a bit. I
True.
actually really like that, I know that I can mitigate the washout just by a little bit of positioning difference if I wanted to. I thought,
Yep.
oh wow, I can kind of control that and use it to my advantage if I want it or not.
Yeah.
So I thought it was fun to include both. And then we sat at the Harry Potter table, and next to us was a woman in the area who lived around in the area, and she dressed up as McGonagall from Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
of course, she would sit at the Harry Potter table with us, and I was like, "Can I please take your photo for this?" Because I thought, can I use the flaring on this lens to kind of like work with her outfit
Sure.
a little bit? I couldn't quite position it quite right, and she only gave me a couple minutes, but she was happy to. So I thought it was fun to include this as
Yeah,
well.
but actually wildly sharp for what's going on here, which is crazy. And also, was it intentional to try to make the flare look like it's like a spell coming out of the?
Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah.
tried.
It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I couldn't get it in the right position with the wand, but it was just fine.
It's not perfect, but it kind of looks like she like did this, and it's like aftermath, so it still
Right.
kind of works. It
Right,
works really
exactly.
cool. That's not bad.
Because I did the shots with Lisa first, and I saw what was happening, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh, I gotta go ask if she can."
Because this is crazy.
It's crazy,
I
right?
don't
Like,
even know how this happened inside of the lens.
that is
Like,
insane that
yeah,
they would ship a lens that they would do flaring quite like that. But you're right. It performed for a 30-year-old lens. It performed way better in the sharpness factor than I expected,
yeah,
and I had to manually focus all that.
right, yeah, yeah. That's like that's completely like I would take like like if that's all I had and I needed to, you could do commercial work with that. That's plenty sharp.
Yeah.
I don't know how much this looked before you corrected some of the CA,
Right.
but with the heavy back, like that works. You're
Yeah.
not too worried that it's just like you can tell there was CA and a little bit of it's corrected or whatever, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well done. That's pretty cool.
Thanks. We used that lens quite a bit that night, and I got a lot of other shots of like Lisa. We went out in the grass and stuff, and did just some nicer shots too. So
Sure. I
it's a fun lens to use.
I have to imagine that lens has got to be like $100, right?
Oh, I
Or
don't.
less
I
even
have
because
no idea.
it's
You
like the
probably could get it for
plasticky
like
one,
50
right?
bucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. I think I saw something about an adapter that would make those lenses work on the new mirrorless stuff.
They would have to have a focus motor in the adapter.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up, but I thought I saw something recently. Somebody was talking about it,
That's interesting.
and that exists, but it'd be pretty wild.
Hmm.
Anyway, let me get my emails open so I can kind of go through these.
Oh yeah.
These are our submissions from the month. It should be pretty fun. I'll try to go through the emails and kind of bounce back and forth and talk about what we're talking about. But
Sweet.
yeah, we'll start here with this is old Harry Bennett.
Yeah.
So we'll actually go in reverse order for this one, but this is actually shot on an Olympus EP5
Oh,
with a Pentax 50mm K-mount 1.7.
all right.
Childhood dog Charlie. It was taken at 1.7, which is pretty wild. Got the note. It's so hard to manually focus a
Yeah.
dog with a long snoot.
For sure.
I cheated with the bulldog because she has such a squished face. It's so much easier to photograph a bulldog.
That's funny.
But yeah. So having had a lot of images just like that where you just get the nose. But again, some of my pups that have passed, it's nice to have.
Okay. Is that a bunch of spit flying off the tongue there?
Yeah.
That's what's in focus,
Yep.
baby. You got it.
So, but it's cool. I love taking pet photos with the swirly older lenses. It always looks cool. So
Yeah, character on this kind of stuff is fun.
yeah, I like the low contrast black and
Is
white
that a,
vibe on there.
flare ring in the bottom left corner?
Yeah, that's what it looks like
Heck yeah.
because it looks like the sun's back there. But yeah,
Yep.
As always, thanks for sending some of the pups, Harry.
Yes.
We'll go to this next one. Some blossoms. Nice fall off. Not too busy bouquet, and it looks
Is it the
like
same setup from Harry.
this is actually a Miranda 28 mil at 2.8. And I think if I look at the other one, it'll tell me which lens this is. So yeah, the Miranda on the EM 1 Mark II.
Oh,
So it's about a 56 millimeter equivalent with the
okay.
Micro Four Thirds, but definitely pretty. Not too busy.
no,
know,
looks good.
Doing its thing. We love that. Pentax adapted. And then here's another one. This is a 9x16 crop.
ID. Look at that.
He does say, where is this? He does say he makes a joke about 16 by 9 and saying that you'll like that, David, from your
Yeah.
16 and 9 things. But yeah, 50
I'm
mil.
so sorry. I actually really despise vertical 16 by 9.
I do too, but at least you can throw it in your Instagram story. The amount that I crop to 9 by 16 is painful, because I like to just put stuff in my story. But yeah, this is fun. This is like wicked sharp for.
That is really cool.
Again, I think this is the Miranda 28.
And I actually really enjoy a well-intentioned high-key photo like this.
Yeah,
This is nice.
Yeah, I do too. But yeah, thanks for submitting.
Yeah.
We can go next into Jacob. We got some more flowers.
Hey,
and this is spring vegetation of the P&W. This is an A7 III with a Canon FD 50mm 1.8, the old nifty 50 on the Canon FD.
All right.
This lens was his grandpa's, and it's wholesome to think of him as I'm out playing around. Yeah, exactly.
That's
like
wonderful.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
All straight out of camera JPEGs that have been cropped. Seriously considering getting DxO to take editing seriously. You did, man. Photolab 9 is sick.
Yeah.
So I got to go in a different order. So this is actually an Oregon Fawn Lily.
Nice.
That's pretty fun. This one is a Pacific Bleeding Heart. I really like the light in this one.
I do too.
Super nice capture, and it's so hard to get, like, knowing this is straight out of camera, it's so hard to get greens to look good, even on a raw file sometimes. So like, that's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Definitely love that. And this is what I mean by greens, because like, I would edit these to look more like the last photos if it was raw, you know what I mean? So this is a false Solomon seal. And
I love the shadow on this.
Yeah, that's the money right there, is having that. That's cool. And then
it defines the light. That's great.
Oh, do I not have the last one? Oh, I didn't put it in my thing. Well, I'll have to try and edit it in or something. But the last one is looks like an Oregon grape, he says. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, thanks for that. We love that. It's funny because if you look up lens tests for like these old lenses, you'll get so many flower shots, because it's such a good way to see fall off and get like nice contrast and color. Yeah. So it's like it's a no-brainer. It's so cool. But it's cool that this is your grandpa's lens and you're bombing around the P&W.
That is absolutely cool.
So heck yeah, take that. Here's one from Kurt. Our Kurt.
All right, look at that.
Says this is a Katana 300mm reflex 5.6 on the D750. So if you're not familiar with what a reflex lens is, it's basically got like a mirror in it, and it's a focal length that you would think is a super long lens, but it ends up being kind of short and stout because it actually bounces through a mirror to get telephoto. And there's like a like the mirror in it, or whatever, is why the bokeh has the hole, basically, because it bounces and back and gets the image comes through around the sides of the thing, or whatever. Very technical description of a reflex lens, but you'll if you Google it, you'll see it. But this is what we like to call a bokeh test. But what's cool about it is it's Lake Superior ice with the sun reflected into it. So
I like that you can see what's happening in all four corners with that bokeh. Like where the segmentation kind of separates, because in the center you've got the full rings, but each corner separates on the corner side. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. As always. That would be fun to just play around with portraits too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen some pretty, because you can get like really wild ones where they're like 600 or 800 millimeter like reflexes, and they're like $100. Sometimes it can be really cheap. So
insane compression, crazy character.
Yeah. We got a few from Mike here, or a couple. We got some Triz. Where is the email so I can pull up the data? Here we go. Old lenses. So this is a Canon A7R 35mm. It's a Leica mount from 1951. I can actually pull up this, because this was nice to include running the ZF with this beautiful old lens. inherited along with a Leica 3C when my grandfather switched to digital in the early 2000s. Very cool. Back when I was shooting an M4 and absolutely hated the lens because it didn't have a focusing tab. I was such a baby back then, lol. In the later years of his life, when I would go to take care of him daily, take care of him, the daily wheel around the neighborhood was the highlight of the day. So I took this lens on some wheels around the neighborhood. Thanks for taking a look.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is fun. I see I missed another one here too. I don't know how I did that, but sometimes Google is weird with how you see the images. So we got some hedging. These are pretty classic Mike photos.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot. Mike's shared a bunch of stuff from a book that was put together and stuff like that. So I like this just nailed trash to the tree. You know, sometimes you need that, but not a bad looking lens. Really freaking sharp in the center.
For the age, like 70 plus years old.
Yeah, that's wicked sharp.
That's doing just fine.
Yeah, pretty wild. Again, if you got ask your grandparents and stuff if they have an old lens kicking around, or dig through their things if they unfortunately are past now, because there's cool stuff out there that can get some wild stuff going. My God. Thanks again. Take a wild guess at who sent these in.
Yeah, that's Ryan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is our good pal Ryan Palazak, and this is an IR converted Fuji X-T1 with an adapted Context Zeiss 28mm f2.8 Distagon. This
what a great way to buy an old camera, right? X-T1.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. And this is what we call the Harkonnen from Dune. I think Dune 2, when they use the IR lens on Harkonnen's planet or whatever. But yeah, that's epic. I'd like to see the non-IR shot, but if you're unfamiliar with how IR images look, especially in black and white, having all the leaves go white, and this is like interestingly contrasty for a lot of stuff that I've seen that's IR though. Yeah, kind of trippy to look at, but
for sure. Just beautifully framed as always. Oh wow, yeah. Look at that.
Some brutalism. This is epic. And the next one is I'm a big fan of, but it's cool to see the this is stopped down quite a bit, it looks like. But yeah, super gnarly, really epic. This is Harkonnen energy right here. And then we got this this is
I love it.
Yeah. Hard light, nice diagonal shadows, very cool building. So a little bit of what he's told me, if I remember correctly, is like this is very, very close to his house. So this is just like where he goes and lens tests like the stuff that he's playing with.
How could you not?
Yeah, so it's whatever, but you can see how the IR punches the sky and the cloud contrast and things like that.
I gotta dig up my IR filter.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got I have the full spectrum back at my house right now charging to play with that again, and
nice.
Converted cameras are pretty cool when you can pull out the all that data. But
yeah, MPB had a ZFC converted for like $600, and I was like, oh, I could do it.
That would be sick. Yeah. Thanks as always, Ryan, to send those in. Those are cool. I'm really excited. Ryan will be doing some stuff with a Pentax 6.7 this summer, and doing a lot of like digital film kind of back and forths and stuff. So
I can't wait.
I'm excited for that. Not to spoil his vibe too much. So here we got Richard Jacobson. So this is a 60 Mark II. And then the old 35 to 80 4.5 to 6 lens from a Canon film camera, which is fun. Just an old zoom.
I like the framing on this. I like going in from the bottom left into this curly aspect of the rock, framing the little tree in there. That is a really nice composition.
Yeah, and this is fairly sharp for a kit lens. I mean, it's down to f8, but that's still.
That's just fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some sharpening and some texture or something to it, and some crunch, but like still, that's epic. That's wide at 35 f8.
Yeah, this area, I'm guessing this is Black Rock's area. This is why you really got to take your time and walk around these areas, because finding those compositions like that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Like just Mars? Where is this at? You know,
It's
Neptune or
reflection.
Pluto. Yeah, insane reflection.
Ah,
Like mirror reflection. F
seriously.
F10.
It's got to be one of the stool pools inside of Black Rocks.
Pretty wild. Super sick though. And then we got this. We got some. Talk to me, goose. Just a goose shot, vibing on the old lake up there.
Who's this one?
This is still Richard Jacobson. So
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
Nice, nice, nice.
that's our
Oh yeah,
last one.
floating ice coming in through the break wall. Yeah, this must have been like the first week of May, I think. Maybe it was the. Yeah, I think it must have been around like May 1st or something like that.
April
I remember.
9th, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. I remember there was a lot of ice breaking up and flying around through the break wall in the Ordock area,
Yeah.
and then it didn't last too long. Because I got some shots actually on the D100 of this ice that I need to pull off that camera that I probably could have submitted for this because I thought I had at least one in there that was really cool. So I got to look for that actually.
But yeah, super dope.
I like the depth to this image too. You've got a
Yeah.
nice foreground to structure the goose, the ice, the break
Again,
wall.
not bad for a kit lens that I bet you could buy for sub 100 on like Facebook Marketplace.
No, but I mean, just in general, the image itself is layered nicely. There's components in there that just lead you in.
Yeah, here.
Very nice.
Super good. This is wild. That looks otherworldly. But yeah, so that's our photo share this month. Big fan. Thank you all as always for submitting. I'm not gonna set one up right yet because my wedding is in like 34 days or something like that. So I can't be certain that we'll be able to kind of focus on photography. But
why don't you just make it birding, and then on your wedding, just make sure you got the thing around you. You walk down because you're gonna be near Tawas anyway, right?
Well, I think it'll be. I'll think of something that I want to challenge myself with when we do our West trip, so then I have the 2 weeks that we're traveling to try and figure out what I want to do and kind of throw that as a challenge. Yeah. So I think that'll be because if we can get another episode before the wedding, which I very, very much hope we can, at least one, then we'll just give it some space, and then we'll have the next one probably be, what would that be? End of July will be the end of the next photo share.
Yeah, maybe you'll have a new camera by then.
I hope so. I was going back to pre-ordering that camera for a second. I was refreshing and like trying to get it to work, and then like I used a different browser because I was wondering if like the cookies or anything messed something up, and then I opened it up in like Windows Edge, and then I finally got the thing to open properly and add to a cart, and then when I logged in, it wouldn't let my logged in account view the page.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, what are we doing? I just want to order this camera. So I ended up calling and placing the order on the phone. I should have just did that right away. I don't know why I didn't.
Did you have to wait in a queue on the call?
No, it was pretty quick.
Cool.
But I did say that I was looking to pre-order the A7R VI, and he was like, you and everybody else, my friend. And I was like, oh, great. It's slated to ship early June. I'm really hoping I get it before the wedding.
That'd be cool.
But obviously the backup plan will be, there's some silliness that will happen actually during the trip. So we'll talk about that in a future episode. But yeah, pretty exciting. Super, super dope. Again, thanks everybody who was patient enough to submit, and I pushed this episode back like 3 different weekends, so it's just going to be a little crazy like that for a bit. But yeah, you have any other cool things happening shortly? What you're looking forward to doing?
Man, I'm just enjoying it being warm out again. So just spending a lot of time outdoors. I want to be spending more time on the surface of the water. I've got the equipment to be really close. I can be in the water, and I want to be doing that this year because I did it a few times last year, and I just didn't give myself enough opportunities to make the best use of that.
Yeah.
So I will be in the chest waders more this year, I promise, because there is opportunity for that. You know what? I want to say I want to travel a little more because I do got the car. But I think it is just going to be a lot of taking the opportunities to hit the areas that are close to me as well. So a lot of what I did last year, because man, I did a lot of work on the ground last year. But we'll see. I think there's some trips that we got to make.
Cool. Yeah, heck yeah. I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but I'm hoping to see some cool new stuff from your space as well at work.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. We can talk about that. We're roasting in it now, which is cool.
cool.
I moved from Nagani to KI, so I moved. We we had a crew of people help us move a 750-pound roaster
Yeah.
from one building to another, which is about 30 minutes away from my house now. But the new space is completely ours. We are renting, but we don't share the space anymore. It's got all new floors, all new walls. Everything is buttoned up just for us, on an old Air Force base, and windows are nice and big and bright, so it's so bright in there. It's wonderful. So we have not lots of nice light. So yeah, we're in the process of really settling in and organizing everything. So yeah, I will get some pictures in
Yeah.
once things are kind of in fluid motion there.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. Well, cool. As always, pop into the Discord if you're into, chatting with us and wanting to be a part of our little community. It is a good little time. Obviously, our Instagrams are on the screen here if you're watching a video version of this podcast. Yeah, in the descriptions below, you can reach out to us and we'll just give you a link. That's our verification, is that you're a real person who wants to join the Discord instead of getting bots and stuff. But yeah, we're just open to, if you're down to be there and share, if you want to go in there and lurk and maybe learn a thing or two, you're welcome. So definitely do that. And then
let us know in the comments. Is the A7R6 of interest to you? Is the L10 of interest to you? Because these are very different cameras, and I'm curious what you guys think.
yeah. I'd like to see. I hope Panasonic is moving back in that direction with their Micro Four Thirds. I think there's the market for it.
Yeah,
and it'll be cool to see a lot more like really solid pocketable cameras, because
I think this also needs to pay attention there.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today.
That's it for me. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Hey, Editor Korey here. So we've been without power today. Power's finally back on. And I had realized that I never actually got into the winner of the giveaway from our photo share. The folks who submitted are some of our regulars, and instead of just choosing one, I decided to use a random number gen, and our winner was Ryan Palazak. He submitted some IR converted X-T1 images that were really cool to this photo share. We've been chatting a little bit about some of the projects he plans to do this summer. I'll put his name and Instagram on the screen here. But he is going to receive my Helios 44-2 that I actually used the most on this challenge. I actually got this back when the Helios first kind of got hot, and you could pretty much get them for 40 to 60 bucks. And I got like maybe 6 or something like that before I landed on this 44-2 and the 44M that I use. But it's time to go to somebody else. I know he'll put it to good use. But yeah, so congrats, Ryan. I'll have this shipped out sometime this week. Sorry about totally dropping the ball and not putting that in the episode. So there will be more like this. I'd like to try and source other cool vintage lenses and other things that we can give away. This was just, a personal lens of mine. There's no sponsor for this or anything. So, if you want to join the community, we'd be happy to have you, and there will be more opportunities like this, and just sharing your images and talking with like-minded photographers and video folks and cinematographers and such. So yeah, thanks for listening as always. Subscribe and like this video. That helps us out. Go follow us on Instagram. We have Light Over Time Instagram, and David and I have our own. We'll have the people that submitted. All of their information will be in the description below. So yeah, thanks again.